Matt Walsh reacted to the release of one of Tucker Carlson's text messages to the New York Times, where he like waxed poetically, and it read like a 12-year-old's diary entry, but if that 12-year-old was a white supremacist, really, like sending all of his thoughts and feelings to his producer about how he had mixed feelings, essentially, seeing a kid in Antifa getting beaten up by a bunch of Proud Boys.
I like how he was doing that. Like, was that for work? Just watching assault videos? I don't watch that shit.
It was in the wake of January 6th. It was the day after. Yeah. So I guess he was musing. I feel like, I mean, when Sam sends me a text, it's like KK, 2 words, like nothing. I can't imagine.
Thumbs up emoji.
Yeah, my boss sending like his innermost thoughts to me. It seems ridiculous, but Matt Walsh is coming out hard in defense of Tucker Carlson. And I'll say it's pretty obvious that this is not why Tucker was fired, saying that, quote, this is not how white men fight. He said way worse on air. He has called Iraqis monkeys. He has, said general great replacement theory stuff on the program. This feels like a limited hangout to me, and I'm shocked that the New York Times kind of ran with it like this. But here's Matt Walsh going over the top, licking Tucker's boots here.
And you'll see here, but I'm curious. I'm curious what you guys think after we watch this. I'm wondering if this, and as well as how Newsmax has been covering Tucker's firing, I'm wondering if all of these are recruiting pitches.
Exactly. Right. This is like, when a college coach comes to your hometown,
booster, like trying to recruit a guy.
5-star recruit.
Okay, the only shocking thing about this text message is that it's way more thoughtful and interesting than the average text message. Okay, it reads like a passage from a book, not a message dashed off on a phone and texted to a coworker.
What book?
Most people text in emojis and
Turner
GIFs
Diaries?
and internet slang. Tucker is writing actual paragraphs.
Wow, he's giving real
expressing
treatment,
his emotions through language and offering like insights into the human condition via text message. That is shocking to see. That part is shocking.
You're a baby.
But as far as the content of his message goes, there is nothing here that any normal person would be offended by. He's being introspective and honest, wrestling against his own desire for vengeance. That's a desire. It's a desire that we can all relate to. The only difference is that many of us don't bother wrestling against it. And certainly on the left, again, this is why to them it's like shocking, because they would never. They have the same feeling. I mean, they want us all dead. Okay, if there's footage, if there was footage of Tucker Carlson being beaten,
he's entirely missing the point. Like the problem that people had with the text wasn't the length of it, the format, or
the prose.
Yeah, or that he didn't, or that he came around and said he didn't want the Antifa person to be beaten into a pulp. Like that's not what people are having offended with. The frame is what that's not how white men fight, which is like a Rudyard Kipling ass like 100-year-old form of like white supremacy, as if instead of the CIA, his dad worked for the British Raj or something like that.
Well, let's keep going, because that's the point though, is that Matt Walsh agrees with it and then doubles down on the content of what you're saying, Matt.
By a mob, every person on the left would openly gloat over it. They would love it. It would never occur to them to even wrestle against that instinct.
What?
But Tucker is wrestling against it, as a decent person does. I suppose we're also supposed to be scandalized about his comment that white men don't generally fight by ganging up and mobbing someone the way they were in that video. Apparently, Tucker is implying, of course, that non-whites do fight that way. And here he commits the other great sin of the modern era, which is the sin of noticing. So Tucker has apparently noticed out loud rather than noticing silently like most people do, that
Matt Walsh clearly
in almost every video
with words
where multiple people are beating the hell out of a...
What'd you say, Binder?
I said Matt Walsh clearly doesn't have the same way with words that Tucker has. The sin of noticing.
That's a really introspective way to frame the same bit that every hack comedian from the 80s would do. Like, white people sure do this and black people sure do this. Like, that's just the sin of noticing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Matt Walsh is his attitudes are formed by like watching like racist attacks like Tucker was doing all day, like or these sort of like that's the world you're seeing. But of course, like there's no violence is done often in groups of people. The idea that there's some sort of racial, especially in fucking America, where like obviously people have mentioned like the history of lynching and stuff like that, but also like border town violence against Native Americans. Like this is actually fairly typical.
Yeah.
Man who consumes solely racist propaganda all day says this is the least racist thing he's heard.
Right.
Go back just 15 seconds or so.
Noticing. So Tucker has apparently noticed out loud rather than noticing silently like most people do, that in almost every video where multiple people are beating the hell out of a single victim, and there are many videos like this on the internet, unfortunately,
What?
and in almost every case of that we have ever seen, the assailants are not white. That's just a fact. And we have all noticed it, every single person.
Maybe
Any
that
person who
office.
read that text message from Tucker and pretended to be offended, they know exactly what he's talking about. Anyone who's listening to me right now, Media Matters, probably one of them, is getting ready to clip this exact segment. But they also have noticed it. So they hear that and they go, oh yeah, sure. But then they pretend, well, but we can't say that. So everyone knows that it's true.
No,
what does
we all
it mean?
we all notice.
no.
What,
We all notice the racist trope that white supremacists and racists have spread for quite a long time. That racist trope that like it's usually this, from personally recent experiences with this trope, it's being pushed by Twitter Blue subscribers who always pop up in For You feeds, who always just happen to upload fight videos trying to spread this racist trope. Right.
Yeah.
It's always these cherry-picked videos from these same accounts that get pushed in your feed. But you could easily find videos of literally every race, white people included, fighting in numerous different ways, just like you could find videos of Latino people and black people fighting in numerous different ways. Like, it's just a racist trope, and that's what we notice.
It's Matt Walsh's methodology is like what I saw on the
Crowder.
Daily Loud or whatever
Right,
the
yeah.
fuck. Like, it's just, I mean, we didn't have cell phone cameras back when there were groups of, like, say, white people lynching black people. I don't know.
Has Matt Walsh ever seen the aftermath of a playoff series in like Canada or
Boston?
Boston or anything? Has anyone Matt Walsh should look up hockey fan fights and see whether it still holds water, that idea that white people don't engage in this type of violence.
Yeah.
Every white person walks over to an individual they want to engage in hand-to-hand combat with and slaps them across the face with a glove and then says, I challenge you with a duel. And that's how every white person begins a fight. And it's always
I bite my thumb at you, sir.
Yes,
Do you bite your thumb at me, sir?
A white would never scream world star before attacking another white.
They would. That is very uncouth.
I think honestly, Matt is like 100% right though. But like, you really tell on yourself when you say things like, whenever you're watching like videos of people getting beat up, it's always like blacks attacking another. You guys just belong to like a really fucked up DM where you send each other like fight, like Stormfront like propaganda fight videos and just like with like monkey emojis. It's like really, that's just like really sad. And
I was watching an old bum fights DVD, and I was noticing that it's always homeless people getting into fights.
And you noticed that out loud, Matt. You did not. You at first you noticed it quietly to yourself, as you do, but then you committed the sin of noticing publicly.
Matt Binder does something even more brave. He commits the sin of noticing that all the bumps fight each other.
I did. I noticed that. Right.
All right. Well, that's that. I mean, like, tone it down a little bit, Matt Walsh. You don't have to gargle his nuts on.
It's funny, like it's such a fancy lad type of white supremacy too. Like you're like disappointed in white people that they're not like adhering to some sort of like Aaron Burr era, which like I mean, what a fancy I mean, this is what a rich that's what a rich racist would feel like.
Exactly. You did not use the correct fencing posture when you attacked this person.
Churchill would not have behaved that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like watching like some like white boys jump another white boy and like your monocle falls out into like your goblet of Dom Perignon and you're like, why I never. Normally when I watch these videos, it's ethnics.
Simply uncivilized.
Like you're scandalized by it. Like what?
Anyway, that is not the reason Tucker got fired. Don't repeat that. I don't.
No, he's a legal liability.
It's a limited hangout, and I don't know what the like actual purpose is. But
PR, I mean.
I mean, like, I just don't have all the information.
We're upset with the racism.
I mean, I actually, I think a lot of it has to do with Rupert Murdoch just being old and just going on a whim. I mean, I think his ex being a huge fan of Tucker and saying that Tucker is a voice from God himself or something like that. And then they shortly after split up. I think, I would say him trying to jab his ex by firing Tucker is just as possible as a reason Tucker got fired than any other, honestly.
It seems more likely. This seems just like a bigger, platform version of when any of these right-wing people lose their platform or get fired, to frame it as though it's like the result of them just speaking truth or the sin of noticing. And then you find out it's just some sort of petty bullshit or they sexually harassed somebody. And then that's like always it. And they're going to cost them more money via those interpersonal and, again, personal flaws that they try to hide despite all of the propaganda that they spew.
Yeah. What was I supposed to do? Not notice out loud how good you look today? I mean, come on. I committed the sin of noticing by commenting on your body.
Yeah, it's just a sin of noticing that all Muslims
noticing
are
out loud. Some people would say saying. Yeah. Some people would describe noticing out loud as speaking. But, if you just say it sounds more passive if you say noticing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm just noticing all these welfare queens in my objective analyses of the world.
I just love that Matt Walsh started out the clip basically by being like, Tucker, it was evocative to him of like Proust holding the Madeleine cookie and expressing some nostalgia. He was like, there was a real wisdom to that text message.
It's just,
just pure,
enough, dude. Yeah.
Just a prismatic look into his mind.
It should, and the text message should have just been like, "Lol, you see white boys fighting."
They really do feel like that, don't they?
Yeah. Honestly, just like way too much text. He needs some, to learn some brevity.
Everyone's a novelist now. There's like unlimited characters on Twitter. Right.
I mean, exactly. All right. Gonna hang up the calls. Sorry, guys. Read some IMs. Get out of here. Dan from Columbus. Brandon, do you remember what homunculus in Full Metal Alchemist was in The Sin of Noticing?
Joke for Brandon there.
Yeah. Dave from Jamaica. I watch European soccer fights, just multiple situations of single combat. Sam Seder. Brandon, what's a poggers? Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, me neither. Sam's barely contained rage says, noted child genital enthusiast Matt Walsh really taking his time to ensure Tucker's butthole is clean enough to eat off of. Oh my God. I mean, I went there earlier too, so I don't know why I'm clutching my pearls.
It's a little rude.
Yeah, you started it.
Yeah. As having child's genitals. That's not, let's keep it, no need to go blue there.
I mean, I think I cast the first stone. Is that the right phrase?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was like half sure before.
He who is without sin cast the first stone. Yeah.
God, I'm brilliant.
Biblical knowledge.
Who wrote that? Tucker Carlson in his tweet. Actually, right after the white boys can't fight part.